The Miami Dolphins have reached out to the Las Vegas Raiders and attempt to trade for Josh Jacobs. Coming up here on today's show presented by Panda Supps, I'm going to give you the latest NFL news and rumors around the Raiders star running back. Now, I do got to give a shout out to today's sponsor, Panda Supps, and you guys can save 25% off some high-quality premium protein at pandasupps.com. Just make sure that you use code preseason. So here is the latest going on around Jacobs. Yesterday, bright and early in the morning, Tom Pelissero stated that the Dolphins have reached out to the Indianapolis Colts and the Raiders and stated that the Raiders have no interest in trading Jacobs. Late last night, the Athletics' Vic Tafur said that he heard, according to a source, that the Dolphins have tried to reach out to the Raiders in terms of what's the availability around the star running back. Again, this morning, the Miami Dolphins top beat reporter Cameron Wolfe stated that the Dolphins reached out to the Raiders and attempts to see what the cost would be if the Raiders were interested in trading for Jacobs. But I'm here to tell you, according to Pelissero, according to multiple sources that I talked to, the Las Vegas Raiders have zero interest in trading Jacobs. Why? The Raiders still want to have Jacobs as their star running back. From what I understand, Jacobs still wants to be a part of this team. And near the end of today's show, I'll tell you why the Raiders aren't going to trade Jacobs. It's because the Raiders have all the leverage. Jacobs doesn't. And if you think that he does, I really encourage you to stay till the very, very end of the show. So now I got to ask, are you hitting that? You know what I'm talking about. Are you hitting that? Are you hitting that subscribe button for daily Raiders videos? Because when there's Raiders news, I don't care if it's early in the morning. Chugs and I, we're built different here. We're bringing you that content, and we're going to be live later on today for Raiders Thursday Happy Hour. You better not miss it because it's going to be one hell of a party. All right, let's keep on looking here at Josh Jacobs because hell of a season last year. 340 carries, over 393 touches, over 2,000 total yards. His best season as a professional, hands down, was last season. He has averaged 1,185 rushing yards. He has averaged 40 receptions. He has averaged 10 touchdowns per season. I get the fact that Jacobs wants to get paid, but the running back market, the way that it is, it's not all great. Here's the thing, though. Miami, they hired Mike McDaniel, and his offense is predicated on running the football, especially when you got a quarterback like Tua Tagovailoa. And since the Dolphins have reached out, which does not surprise me at all because if you would have watched my show yesterday on Jacobs, I said that the number one team most interested in trading for Josh was the Miami Dolphins because of the Mike McDaniel scheme. Now, when you look at the current running backs on this depth chart, Raheem Mostert has had tons of injury history. Jeff Wilson has had tons of injury history. This season, the Dolphins, they drafted Devon Achane, running back out of Texas A&M, and he's a small back. He was carted off the field, and we still don't have an update on the severity of the injury, which is simply because head coaches, they don't have to reveal the severity of the injury during the preseason. They can just say that he's injured. But let's be real. If he was carted off the field, if the Dolphins reached out to Jonathan Taylor, they also reached out to Josh Jacobs in the offseason. They were showing interest in Dalvin Cook. They were showing interest in a lot of the top running backs out there on the market. You know why? Because they believe that they need another running back. So, to me, if a Jonathan Taylor trade does end up going down, I see him going to the Miami Dolphins. He would be a really good fit in that offense, but for the Dolphins to be reaching out to both Taylor and the Raiders, I know this. I know we're going to get Dolphins fans that watch this show. I know we're going to get Colts fans that watch the show, Raiders fans, NFL fans, hell, people that care about fantasy football will all come across this programming. So my question to you is this. Out of the two running backs that are featured in this video, out of the two running backs that you see up on screen, who has more value? Which back would you want on your team right now? If it's Josh Jacobs, I want you to type JJ. If it's Jonathan Taylor, I want you to type JT. I have the utmost respect for Taylor. He is a phenomenal running back, and honestly, he might be the better athlete compared to Jacobs, but Jacobs is the better running back. And if I'm building a team, I'm going to go with Josh, especially since He's coming off the better season. Taylor missed 6 games last season due to injury, and the numbers that you're about to see, again, both backs are spectacular. Jacobs is actually the better pass catcher compared to Taylor. To me, is more of the power runner, and I actually think his fit with Anthony Richardson in that offense would be something I would love to see. Taylor, I do think, is a better fit in Miami. I will mention the numbers that you see on screen. Jacobs has played in 4 years in the NFL. Taylor has played in only 3. But the touchdowns are fairly similar. The average is definitely in Taylor's favor. Both running backs are extremely talented. There's no doubt about that. Now, I got some extra numbers to look at of why I think that the Raiders are in full control here, and they have every right to say, hey, Josh, we're not going to trade you. And if you don't like it, you're only going to hurt yourself. You're only going to cost yourself money in 2023 and in 2024. That's the part that a lot of Raider fans are not quite getting. But I worked out this morning, which pat on my back, because usually Thursday is my off day. I was like, man, I'm going to be tailgating on Saturday with the nation. If you don't know, Chugs and I, we're going to be at the Raiders-Cowboys tailgate. I was like, I can't miss a single gym day because I know y'all are about to beat me up on our Thursday live show, Saturday preseason tailgate. So, hey, I got a workout in this morning. I got some My Fuel Premium protein from Panda Supps, the best tasting protein on the market. Go to pandasupps.com, use code preseason for 25% off. If you like these things in smoothies, I recommend them. Late night snack, I recommend it. Chugs' favorite is the vanilla. You can mix it with all sorts of different fruits. I think it's very good. This is going to sound crazy, but recently Alex has been juicing with like celery and apples. I tried it the other day with that. It's actually pretty freaking good. Now, that's just because this protein is next level. The cookies and cream almost taste too good to be true. The strawberry has real frozen, dried strawberries in the protein. 30 grams of protein, only 140, 150, 160 calories per scoop, depending on which protein you eat. But it's not only great for after your workout, it's also a great what's the word I'm looking for? Meal replacement. That's the word. I was looking for, like, it can curb your appetite. That's the word I was looking for. But, hey, man, I love Panda Supps. They've been here for 2 years, and every single person that I know that has ever used Panda Supps has had nothing but glowing reviews about it. So I recommend, get it second, go to pandasupps.com, code preseason for 25% off. So the reason why we're making this video here is, again, the Miami Dolphins have reached out to the Las Vegas Raiders about potentially trading for Jacobs, and there's some interest. The Dolphins should do this. Like, every single NFL team, if you believe that you have a need, you're not doing your due diligence as a general manager to not reach out to a team if they know that their certain running back isn't 100% happy. So I understand why Miami is doing it. But the Raiders have been very firm on this point, saying, we're not going to trade Jacobs. We want a deal to get done. And as it stands right now, the Raiders have offered Jacobs at least 3 offers, which has been confirmed. I know there's some people on social media that are like, oh, why would Josh lie about it? I don't know. But Josh has a lot more reason, Jacobs has a lot more reason to lie about the contracts he's gotten than Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport, Mike Garafolo, Tom Pelissero. Those guys have nothing to gain. They're just reporting the news because it is news. Jacobs and his team have been offered multiple deals, and they have dropped the ball. Does Jacobs deserve more money? Yes. But that's not where the running back market is, and he needs to realize that. So yesterday I put this out on Twitter. And remember, if you ever want to hit me up, get more Raiders news content, follow me on Twitter, @MitchellRentz365. But this is why Josh doesn't have leverage. And this one right here is a big thing that people need to realize. So if Josh Jacobs refuses to play on the franchise tag or sign a 1-year deal, he doesn't get paid. If he doesn't sign the tag or sign a 1-year deal, then he technically isn't playing in the NFL, which means the Raiders would have his rights in 2024. So if the Raiders wanted to, again, they could hit him with another tag in 2024 if he decides, like, I'm not signing the tag, I'm not signing the 1-year deal, I'd rather literally set out. The problem with that is he's still then under contract with the Raiders. Josh doesn't have any leverage with this current running back market, and he needs to realize that. It's not the Raiders against the Josh thing. It is the NFL against the running back market problem. If Josh Jacobs signs the tag and refuses to play, he doesn't get paid while he sits. If he returns week 10, to me, if that's the way he's going to go about it, I'd put his ass on the bench. I'd rather eat the $5 million and then let him test free agency after not playing an entire NFL season. You know why? Because the NFL is a big what have you done for me lately type of league. And if you haven't played an entire year, his value continues to go down. So Josh needs to understand every single day that he is missing practice, he is losing value for not only 2023 and 2024. Why? Because think about the way Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler run this operation. If anybody out there thinks that Josh is just going to step right in a few days before week 1 and he's going to be the main bell cow back, you're crazy. Will he be the main running back? Yes, no doubt about it. But Josh wants that big-time contract in 2024. That's not going to happen if he is splitting carries with Zamir White, if he's splitting touches with Brandon Bolden and Amir Abdullah, all backs that this Raiders organization is very happy with. So if you think he's going to get a bell cow share of carries, close to 393 touches this year, I'm telling you, you're insane. If he misses time, and the more time he misses, this is not the type of organization that just is going to hand the keys to him. It simply will not happen. So his value, his numbers will go down this season, and then it's going to impact his problem, I guess, or impact his value in 2024. I know there's a lot of people out there that don't think that I like Jacobs, which really frustrates me because, people are like, oh, you shouldn't be talking about Jacobs this way. My job is to give my opinion on the Raiders, and I'm always going to do that. And whether they like it or not, that's their problem. My job is not to make players happy. I have good friendships with some of the Raiders players. I also have a lot of Raiders players that probably don't like me. I do this show to give my opinion, but I do this show for Raider Nation. So if you think for a second that me saying the truth about a dude hurts their feelings and that's on me, it's not. I'm a grown man, and I think sometimes family has to be able to look at family in the eyes and say, you're not doing something smart. With all that being said, though, I know that Jacobs, I heard from a source, somebody very close to the Jacobs family, that Josh still wants to be a Raider. He does, and he's going to sit out as long as he can because he doesn't want to get hurt in a practice. I get it. I will still confidently say that I believe that he's going to be out there week 1 with the Raiders for the Broncos. He might not get the workload that some people are expecting, but I am confident that he's going to do that. I've said that for weeks. I said it a few days ago, and then yesterday during the press conference, Zamir White came out and said that Josh Jacobs texted him and said Josh was asking about how Zamir was doing, asking, how's everything going? That's one of the biggest indications that I have seen arguably this offseason that Josh Jacobs still wants to be a team. So the way that I look at sources, the way that I take in information, it's, all right, I got a good source here. They tell me that, hey, Josh Jacobs still wants to be a member of this team. Well, if you add one and then him asking about Zamir, you put 2 and 2 together, that's a good news sign. Like, I am confident that Jacobs is going to be back, but I can still say that he is hurting himself in the long term. So both Josh Jacobs and Jonathan Taylor, to me, they're going to have to make a decision by August 29th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, for people who watch the show religiously, you'll know that this has been the deadline that I have continually said. The Indianapolis Colts literally told Taylor, you're allowed to seek a trade. However, we will not allow a trade to be sought. Is that the right word? Maybe. After August 29th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Why? That's when cuts are due. Jeremy Jugs and I, we're going to be live on Cut Down Day, so that way we can keep you up to date with everything going on around the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, before I get on out of here, remember, Chugs and I, we're going to be at the Raiders-Cowboys preseason game. We're going to still be doing a watch party for that late night game, which I'm really excited to see. I also like to bring up some NFL news when it happens. So Isaiah Simmons, the former 8th overall pick out of Clemson, a player that I absolutely loved, he was just traded to the New York Giants for a 7th-round pick in 2024. It's a steal for New York. It's a very, very good deal. I know that, I'll be honest with you, Isaiah Simmons is a player that, yes, I would have said the Raiders should have tried to go on and get. If you're a good coaching staff, you can make a player like Simmons work. Has he struggled in Arizona? No doubt about it. But Arizona did not use him the right way. It reminds me a lot of Hassan Reddick when everyone was like, oh, Hassan Reddick is trash. Guess what? Philly uses him in the right way. When you're used the right way, you can be a successful player. I see on social media that some people don't think that Simmons would fit the Raiders' Patrick Graham system. I'm going to respectfully disagree. Is he the perfect fit? No. But when you're as talented and as athletic as what Isaiah Simmons is, good coaching staffs can find a way to make that player ultimately fit in your system. Now, before I go, one more time. Dolphins tried to trade for Josh Jacobs. Raiders said no. I don't think a trade's going to happen. I do think that Josh is going to realize, hopefully in the next week, that he needs to be a part of this team and he needs to be there ultimately for his teammates.